for president of CWA Local 1103. This is the executive board who do the work for you every single day. John Gentile is running for vice president of CWA Local 1103. Doug Sheil is running for re-election as secretary-treasurer of CWA Local 1103. Anthony Puglisi, Mark Crum, who has opposition, is running for business agent. Kevin Scabola and Joe Mayu, all business agents, all running for election for CWA business agents of Local 1103. This is the executive board. This is TeamSheil. This is the team that I believe will do what's necessary to really work for your job security, the same kind of things that we've been doing for the last 2 years, last 10 years. These are the people who I know have your best interests at heart, and these are the people who I believe deserve your support. Now, the good news, even though we don't want to have an election, is that you get to comment on your representation, right? You have a choice on what matters, right? You get to choose and say, I want to affirm somebody in a position, or I want to remove somebody out of the position. And the other good thing is that you get to compare qualifications, and you will see, without a doubt, that the people on this executive board and the people of TeamSheil here are absolutely 100% qualified to represent your best interest, and the people who are running against them have no qualifications for the positions that they are seeking, and have no qualifications to represent you when you compare the qualifications of the people on the executive board. Now, I know that for John Gentile's election, there are 2 people running against him. One person has absolutely no qualifications in the union business at all, and the other person is a person that you all know very well, who I'm very fond of and I have a lot of respect for. It's Pete Scala. Pete Scala, I've spoken to probably 15 times in the course of the last month. And so anything I'm going to be talking to you about is certainly something I've already talked to him about. Pete Scala, he does not want to be vice president of the local. He just does not want John Gentile to be vice president of local. And frankly, that is not a compelling enough reason for somebody to run for a position that's as important as that. That's 100% accurate. That's not a compelling reason. So while I respect Pete Scala 100%, and I respect the work he does, and he is an outstanding chief steward, an outstanding area chief steward, running for the election position that's so important as vice president because you don't want someone else to be in that position is not compelling enough. And frankly, I hope Pete changes his mind in the short term, but we're going to ask that you support John Gentile. Moving on to Doug Sheil. Doug Sheil has taken his local, from his local had $30, less than $30 in the fund. He has given us the opportunity, because of his oversight of the finances, where we're allowed to take people off the job, where we can do steward training, where we can pay stewards and chief stewards to come to the union hall to be trained, to represent you in a better fashion. We can also pull people off to go check double woods. We can check to plant issues. But the only way that we're able to do that is because of our funds, and we're allowed to do that because he has watched the money as if it's his own. And the person running against him, again, has no qualification, is probably just looking to be disruptive. It's the same person who ran against him 3 years ago and lost, and for some reason that person's decided to run again. The person running against Mark Crum, I can tell you, is a good union guy, and actually is a real nice guy, except he has no qualifications to run against Mark Crum. None. And I can tell you this, as a matter of fact, that if my job was on the line, and you had to make a choice between coming back to work because someone's going to represent you or not, and that choice is between somebody who's as experienced as Mark Crum or inexperienced as his opponent, the choice is clear. You're going to want somebody who's going to be able to negotiate and able to do what he needs to do to try to get you back on a job if it's a suspension or a termination. He's the guy you want in that room fighting for you. Without a doubt, 100%, he's qualified and he's got the experience. And and the rest of the executive board who have no oppositions, we want you to support them as well. This is a serious job that these gentlemen do here for you every day. The positions of being on the executive board, frankly, they carry a heavy burden and you have a lot of responsibility. It's not a game. It's not a joke where you can just throw your hat in the ring and think that you can hit the ground running and that all of a sudden you're qualified. There's jobs that are on the line if you put somebody in that position who's inexperienced. Now, when I was at a location just last week, somebody asked me and said, well, you didn't have experience when you ran. And I said, you're right. But I didn't run against an incumbent. There was a vacancy. So when I took that into account, I felt that I was the most qualified person out of the people that were running from the outside for those vacancies. And that happened in my career twice. I never ran against an incumbent because I wasn't arrogant enough to think that I can have more experience than that incumbent. Anthony Puglisi, the same exact thing. He didn't run against an incumbent. In fact, he was in my organization as my chief stiller, right? And he may have had issues within my organization, maybe didn't like the way I ran some meetings or whatever his issue might have been. But he's certainly respectful enough to say, you know what, there's no vacancy. Kevin has the experience, Kevin's got the qualification, and you know what, if there's an opportunity for me to get into that position when that time arises, maybe I'll make my move then. And that's exactly what happened. So I can tell you that everybody on this executive board, it's the same story. And I'm not preaching about that you can't run against incumbents. I'm not saying that. If this board was dirty, and if this board was stealing from the membership, shame on anybody out there for not running against this board, right? That's how I feel. But if this board does the work for you every single day, and we have results, are we perfect? No, we're not. But do we deliver results? Yeah, we do. And do we work hard? Yeah, we do. So that is one of the main reasons that we're asking for your support, because we come to work every single day with one thing in mind, and that's how can we help the members that we represent. Truly, that's what we do. And I've talked enough. I'd like to just pass it on to John, let him tell you a little bit about himself, and then we'll pass it on to everybody else. We'll answer some questions, and then we'll move on to the most important things that matter to you, which is the contract and mobilization.